Welcome to my lecture number 13 on Fourier series and Fourier transform. In this video, we'll discuss two more properties on Fourier transform. These are time reversal and conjugate property. So this video is in continuation with the last video. You see, and in the last video, first we discussed few standard signals and their corresponding properties. So we'll again mention those things. So first one, so few signals with their Fourier transforms. Okay, so first one is impulse signal, unit impulse signal for del t, its Fourier transform. So if xt is del t, then its Fourier transform is capital X of j omega, and that is 1. So in time domain, if there is a sudden change, a high impulse signal, and that will give you all frequency content with equal magnitude. Second one, xt is exponentially decaying signal, e to the power minus at ut, and for that the Fourier transform was x of j omega, it is 1 upon a plus j omega. Third one, we have considered the gate wave, gate signal, the pi of t upon 2t. The width is 2t and its center point is 0. And for that signal, the Fourier transform was, it is 2 sine omega t upon omega. Using function that we discussed. Then fourth, we discuss some continuous signal, periodic signals, okay, unlimited, time unlimited signals. So these are time limited signals. So be careful about time limited and time unlimited signals. Now it is DC signal, this is 1, x equal to 1 always, and for that Fourier transform is 2 pi del of omega. Fifth, xt is e to the power j omega naught t, its Fourier transform is 2 pi del omega minus omega naught. Sixth, again exponential but negative, e to the power minus j omega naught t, then it is 2 pi del omega plus omega naught. Now you see these are these first three is a time limited signal, and these three I have considered time unlimited signal. Okay, and for time unlimited, you see everywhere you will get del signal. That is the characteristics of time unlimited signal that we discussed in previous lectures. because Fourier transform we got for first time limited signal, and there we have seen that actual Fourier coefficients, the amplitude of Fourier coefficients signals are very small, close to zero. Then we have amplified it infinite times. Then only we have got some reasonable height, and that envelope, that the x of t e to the power minus j omega t dt, that integral, that is envelope, that we have considered as Fourier transform. But remember, that is not actual amplitude of that periodic signals. Okay. Now, for time unlimited signal, you will see that Fourier coefficients are having finite magnitude. Then if we again multiply with infinite magnitude, then obviously that samples will become infinite at that moment, that point. So you will get impulse everywhere. Okay, so this DC is having one impulse at 0. This exponential periodic signal is having one impulse at omega equal to omega naught, and this one negative frequency, it is impulse at omega equal to minus omega naught. Okay, then we have discussed some properties of Fourier transform, and we are expecting that we'll be able to solve some we'll be able to find the Fourier transform of some complicated signals. So properties of Fourier transform. So we have discussed so far the three properties. Those are, first of all, linearity, and that you know, for ax1t and bx2t, its Fourier transform is simply a capital X1 of j omega plus b capital X2 of j omega. Right? Next one is time shifting. Right? And from here we got that if this time shift or signal, so xt is shifted by capital T times, then shape is not changing, frequency content, so x of j omega will remain same, but due to this time delay, we'll have a phase delay minus j omega capital T. And third one, we have considered time scaling. So x of at scaled by any parameter a, and that is 1 upon mod a, and capital X of j omega upon a. So here the implication is that if because in the time domain it is a multiplied, in frequency domain a is divided, so it is reversing. In time domain if signal is compressed, in frequency domain it will be expanded, and in time domain if it is expanded, then frequency domain it will be compressed. Okay, so we have discussed a few examples on these three properties. Now today we'll include two more properties. One is time reversal, and other one is symmetrical property, conjugate property. Okay, so fourth that we are going to discuss today, time reversal. Okay, in time reversal you see that if signal is inverted, so from positive side to negative side is folding, it's also called folded, then its spectrum is simply capital X of minus j omega. Okay, now its proof is very simple. So we can prove this one just taking help of the time scaling property. So using time scaling, property, you see, if you replace a by minus 1, okay, then what you'll get? You'll get x of minus t. So here it is becoming x of minus t, and that Fourier transform is 1 upon of minus 1 mod, means 1 only, and it is capital X of j omega by minus 1 is minus j omega. That's simple. So it is x of minus t, its Fourier transform is simply capital X of minus j omega. Now, what is the implication of time reversal? Okay, and also we'll take few examples. So we'll consider few examples. First of all, if I consider example number 1, if x of t is combination of these two, e to the power minus at ut plus e to the power at u of minus t. Okay, so you see here, if I consider this is one x1t, so e to the power minus at and ut, if this is x1t, if I consider, then this is simply x1 of minus t. T is referred by minus t, where x1t I have considered as e to the power minus at u of t. And already we know the Fourier transform of x1t. Okay, we know that x1t, which is e to the power minus at ut, and its Fourier transform we have got 1 upon of a plus j omega. So using time reversal property, x1 of minus t means e to the power minus 1 is plus, it is at, and u of minus t, its Fourier transform is 1 upon. So here you should replace omega by minus omega. Okay, so here a remains same, and this omega is replaced by minus omega, so it will become minus j omega. That's simple. So therefore, the Fourier transform of that xt signal, combination of these two, is simply addition of these two, 1 upon a plus j omega and plus 1 upon 1 minus a minus j omega, and that is due to linearity property. Okay, so if you combine these two, it will become a plus j omega times a minus j omega. This is your a minus j omega, this is a plus j omega. So this j omega will cancel, so you will get it is 2a, and this is this product, it's a square minus j square omega square, and j square equal to minus 1, so minus 1 plus it is omega square plus omega square. So be careful here. Okay, so you see the shape of the signal. So in time domain, you see the signal e to the power minus at ut. Okay, this one I can draw. So for this, okay, I'll consider green only. So exponentially decaying signal, only right side, and it will start from 1. And now if I add the second component, plus e to the power plus at and u of minus t, so I will get this left hand side, and it will start from minus infinity to 0, and it is the reversal of this one. Okay, so these two together we can write as e to the power minus a times mod t, because when t is positive it is simply t, but when t is negative, then mod t is replaced by minus t, it will become plus. Okay, so this signal, its Fourier transform, we have got 2a upon a square plus omega square. Okay, so it's safe. So this is your xt, this is your xt signal, and its spectrum, you see at omega equal to 0, its value is 2 upon a, somewhere here. Okay, and then as omega is increasing, this magnitude is reducing gradually. So we can have this kind of plot on this side also. Okay, so it is at 0. So at 0 it will have maximum value, then both sides will decrease. Okay, fine. The next example, so if I consider just one negative sign here, if I consider x of t is e to the power minus at u of t minus e to the power at and u of minus t, only negative sign. Okay, so obviously we can find capital X of j omega directly. For this one, we have seen that it is 1 upon a plus j omega, this minus sign, and this is your 1 upon a minus j omega. So using linearity property, so a minus j omega minus a minus j omega, this is your a plus j omega and a minus j omega. In this case, a will cancel out, so you will get minus 2 times j omega upon a square plus omega square. And you see the shape of this signal. Okay, so if I draw shape, this first time, the right side is the ut and exponential decaying signal, so I'm drawing in that way. And left side, so this is 1, so left side it will be minus sign of that, so you will get negative of this red color above 1, so it's folded, you should fold it with respect to mirror image with respect to x-axis, so you will get this one. This is your start from minus 1, right? Now there's a special case we can consider. Okay, for this is a time domain signal. Now if we have, now if I consider that a is going towards 0, then what will happen, right? So you see, in this case, so this is your signal, This is 1, this is minus 1. This is t. This is your e to the power minus at u of t, and this one is e to the power plus at u of minus t. Now if you put a tends to 0, okay, if e to the power 0 equal to 1, only ut, so you will get only this one. This curve is with a equal to 0, a approaching to 0, and that is nothing but u of t. Okay, and this side as well, it will not decay, it will become here. So this is again, this curve you will get with a approaching to 0, and that is basically it is u of minus t and minus u of minus t. Okay, that's better. So you can write whether this is minus sign, so this is your minus u of minus t. So this signal, this green one, is called signum function. One is signum t, that is defined as it is 1 for t more than 0, and this is minus 1 for t less than 0. And at t equal to 0, there is a discontinuity, there is a sudden change from minus 1 to plus 1, and that we can avoid taking one middle value. Suppose I can take it 0 at t equal to 0. Okay, so this signum function, so you can see signum function, we can write the right side is ut and left side is u of minus t. It's a negative sign, subtraction of these two. Okay, it's fine. So we have obtained, so the Fourier transform of signum function will get, taking limit a tends to 0 of the Fourier transform of e to the power at minus ut minus e to the power at u of minus t, that function, and that value is minus 2 j omega upon a square plus omega square. Okay, now if I put a equal to 0, then it is becoming, omega will cancel out, 1 omega, so it is minus 2j upon omega. So if I multiply j both numerator and denominator, then you will see j square equal to minus 1, so it is 2 only, minus 1 is a plus, and it is j multiplied here, so 2 upon j omega. So this is an important relation, that Fourier transform of the signum function is 2 upon j omega. Now we'll try to compute the Fourier transform of ut signal. Okay, so next challenge is the Fourier transform of ut. Okay, now one tips I want to give you. So whenever you will try to find the Fourier transform on signal, try to find out its parts. Okay, you can break the signals in basically two terms. Any signal xt, we should look at whether it is a purely time limited signal, or it is a purely time unlimited signal, or a combination of time limited and time unlimited signal. That is important. Okay, so first you should understand that one, whether this signal is purely time limited or purely time unlimited, or there is a combination of these two, right? So if there is a combination, then it is time limited signal plus time unlimited part component. Okay, and we understand the time limited signal spectrum is finite. Okay, but time unlimited signal will have infinite magnitude in certain places. That frequencies, that uh, fundamental frequency and harmonics or a DC component at 0. Okay, those are the time unlimited signals. So that we should first understand. Okay, so in this signal, in this way, this UT, what we can do, you see, this signal is UT. Okay, this is 1, so this is a UT signal. Now you see, left side is 0, right side is always 1, so right side is going towards infinity. That is one time unlimited concept. Okay, so somewhere you will get some time unlimited signal. So is there any time limited signal? Okay, so we should subtract this time unlimited signal first of all. So here there is no frequency, it's a DC component only. So we can find out a DC component, that we need to subtract it. So if you take average of any time, suppose minus t to plus t, obviously its DC value, its average value will be this DC component. Okay, so this total duration is 2t. Now area is only this one, 1 into t. So average value is simply half. So half is the average value for this one. So I need to subtract this half. Then right side what we will get, right? Because this is continuous for both sides, left side and right side. So UT is having one component, that is your DC component is half, and rest one, what we will get. So you see, right side it is, except this one, if I subtract this one, then right side it will become this signal. Suppose if it is xt. Okay, so this xt curve will be, so I'll subtract half from right side, so again it will remain half, and left side it was 0, 0 minus half means it will become minus half. So this is becoming xt, yes, this part. And you see, this looks like, exactly it is a signum function, but amplitude is scaled by half. So exactly this is half, and this one is half times signum function, right? Now we can take Fourier transform. So therefore the Fourier transform of ut will be, for this one, remember this is a continuous signal, both side time unlimited signal, so it is half, and it is 2 pi times del omega. And for this one it is a half, and signum t we have got 2 upon j omega, right? So there 2 will cancel out, here 2 will cancel out, so here you will get 1 upon j omega, and here you will get pi times del of omega. So you see, this pi of del omega, this indicate the signal is containing one DC value, and DC value is half. DC equal to half value. Okay, and rest part is having this frequency 1 upon j omega, right? So this is the important concept, because we can consider, suppose this one exponentially decaying signal e to the power minus a t ut, and there if I put a tends to 0, we will get ut signal. Okay, so, but you see the Laplace transform of e to the power minus a t ut, its Laplace is 1 upon a plus j omega. Now if I put a tends to 0 on both sides, then you will get this is ut, then this will give you 1 upon only j omega. But this term pi del omega is missing. This is because we have not taken care its DC component. So whenever signal is having some infinite time limited, so time unlimited signal component, that we have to separate it out first. And rest time limited signal, there we can find the Fourier transform. That's how we are getting a wrong answer here. We can't get ut, the Fourier transform of ut from only e to the power minus at ut signals, taking a tends to 0. That is not correct. So this is not correct because of this fact, because you will miss the DC component. Okay. So next, I can give you one more example. Example 3 probably. Now, can I find the Fourier transform of this, the gate function, using the properties? Okay, is it possible? Right? Now, this gate function, my window function minus t2 plus t, amplitude 1. Okay, so that one is equivalent to what I can do. I can consider there is one step signal continuously here. Okay, it is starting from minus t. So with this function, I can consider u of t plus capital T. It's advanced of ut to left side, no, shifted to left side at minus t. And at plus t, if I subtract that ut, means if I consider in that way, this is a t. So this is the minus 1, this is a plus 1. And this signal, it shifted left side, right side, sorry. So it is u of t minus capital T, where this is your capital T, but negative sign, so minus of this one. So if I combine these two, I'll get this window. Okay, because this signal is 1 when it is more than minus t, and this signal is 1 minus 1 when it is more than capital T. So within this time minus t plus t, its value will remain 1, and outside it will become 0. Okay, so therefore this pi t upon 2t, I can write it is u of t plus capital T minus u of t minus capital T. So Fourier transform of phi t upon 2t. So we can use linearity property and time shifting both. Okay, so as it is time shifting, now you see, first of all ut, its Fourier transform is 1 upon j omega plus pi del of omega. Is right? And this one should multiply it with, so it is time advance, so it's a phase advance. Okay, so it is j omega capital T minus, again the Fourier transform of ut is 1 upon j omega plus pi del omega, and it's a delayed, so it is phase delay minus j omega capital T. Now you see, if I break these two, what you will get? The first one is 1 upon j omega times e to the power j omega capital T, and next one is pi del omega e to the power j omega T minus 1 upon j omega e to the power minus j omega T minus pi del omega e to the power minus j omega capital T. Now it is a product of, you see, there is a product of two functions. One is del function, other one is other function. So I can put here omega equal to 0. And if I put omega equal to 0, this will become 1. Similarly, again, there is a product of these two. And in the second function, if I put omega equal to 0, its value will become again 1. So basically, these two, pi del omega, and this is also pi del omega, they will cancel each other then. Okay, so Fourier transform of this one, the Fourier transform of that pi t upon 2t, this is 1 upon j omega, that is common, and it is e to the power j omega capital T minus e to the power minus j omega capital T. Now we can rearrange this one. We can write e to the power j omega T minus j omega T, and if it is divided by 2j, then we will get sine omega T. Okay, so this j I already have taken, so omega will remain here, and 2 I have multiplied here, so here also I have to multiply. Okay, so you will get 2 upon omega times, and this is your sine omega. This is sinc function. Okay, so same result we have got using this property. Fine. Now we'll move to the next property, the conjugate. So fourth property, the conjugate, I think fifth property it is. Okay, so it says that if I take a conjugate of time domain signal, xt is the time domain signal and x star t, this is the conjugate of time domain signal. Then if I take Fourier transform in spectrum, again you will get conjugate of the spectrum, but with replaced by minus j omega. Okay, be careful here, you have to put minus sign, then it is j omega, not only start conjugate. So what is the proof? So we can start with find x of j omega, the Fourier transform of xt, that is given by x of t e to the power minus j omega t, and it is dt minus infinity to infinity. Now if I take Fourier transform on both sides, take Fourier transform on both sides, so what I will get? So sorry, take conjugate, sorry, take conjugate on both sides. So left side, this fake term could be complex, so we can take conjugate. So this conjugate of j omega, whatever it is real, then it will remain same. If it is conjugate, both real and imaginary, then you will have a conjugate part. Okay, and right side, the signal, okay, we are considering it can be complex, right? So its conjugate I can consider, and this one, it's itself a complex signal, e to the power j omega t, and you know that e to the power minus j omega t and its conjugate, it's simply e to the power plus j omega t, because this is having cos omega t minus j omega t, sorry, sin j omega t. Okay, so its conjugate should be, it's plus cos omega t plus j sin omega t, and that is simply e to the power j omega t. Okay, so the conjugate of this one is e to the power plus j omega t, and dt is real, so dt remains same and limit will remain same. Okay, now you can put omega by minus omega, you can replace the omega by minus omega on both sides, that we can do. So capital X star, this will become j of minus omega. So this is x star of t remains same, only omega is replaced by minus omega, so it is becoming minus j omega t, and dt remains same, it is remaining same. So right side shows that it is a Fourier transform of, so this is nothing but Fourier transform of this signal, and signal is x star t. So Fourier transform of x star t is x capital X star of minus j omega. So x star t, sorry, its Fourier transform is given by capital X star of minus j omega. It is proved. Okay. Now we want to get some information using this conjugate property. First, consider xt is a real signal. Then what is the spectrum of these reals, all real signals, if xt is real? Fine. So if xt is real, one thing we can write that this xt and its conjugate. So if you take conjugate of real signal, it will remain same because there is no imaginary part. So I can write xt and x star t is basically same. Now if I take Fourier transform on both sides, okay, so Fourier transform of xt should give the Fourier transform of x star t, and it will remain same. Now we know that Fourier transform of xt is suppose capital X of j omega, and Fourier transform of x star t by conjugate property, it is x star of minus j omega, right? Now put or replace omega by minus omega, then what you will get? Capital X of minus j omega will become x star of j omega, because this is becoming negative and this negative become positive, right? So what is the indication of this one? So if I consider two sides, this is a complex plane, this is a real axis, and this is the imaginary axis. Okay, and there we can plot x of j omega, right? So for omega positive, okay, this axis is real and I am considering it is a positive side. Okay, so we can do that one for positive omega and negative omega. So this side, if I consider omega is positive and this side is negative, right? So you see for negative side, x of minus j omega is simply x star of j omega, right? So what I can say, this imply two things. First of all, the magnitude of x of minus j omega, it will be the same as magnitude of x star of j omega, and this conjugate and its same of x of j omega, both will have the same magnitude because it is, one is a plus jb, one is a minus jb form. So it is same as mod of absolute value of x of j omega. So it's imply that, so this imply the magnitude plot is an even function, even symmetry, right? Now the angle, if I consider x of minus j omega, this angle, now this is same as angle of x star of j omega. And if this is suppose x of j omega is a plus jb and x star of j omega is a minus jb, so it is a negative, its angle is simply negative, negative of angle of x of j omega. So it's this imply that phase plot it's odd symmetry because this is negative of this one, negative side is negative of positive side, so it's odd symmetry. So magnitude plot for real signal is will show even symmetry, even function, and phase plot for real signal is odd symmetry, odd function. Okay, this is first, this is two. Now we will go further. Now if I consider xt, consider this thing, xt is real and even signal. So it's imply that, so even signal is defined by that x of t and x of minus t should have same value, the same symmetry. Okay, if you invert it, then also you will get same result, then only it is called even signal. Okay, so if it is so, now you can take Fourier transform both sides. I can take Fourier transform of this one, again I can take Fourier transform of this one. So you see the Fourier transform of this one is capital X of j omega, and Fourier transform of this one, so negative time reversal x of minus t by time reversal property, it is x of minus j omega. And that is same as x of minus j omega, we have seen that it is x star of j omega. Okay, so first this one, so if I consider these two, first and last, okay, so I'll consider two way. x of j omega equals to capital X of minus j omega. Again, capital X of j omega is same as again x star of j omega. Okay, so what is the significance of these two? So this significance says that if I take a conjugate of a function, again it will remain same. That imply that x of j omega is real function. Okay, that is important, and this imply, because this is x of j omega, x of minus j omega, omega and omega minus omega both will remain same, means again it's an even function. So if I combine these two, then we can say that for real and even time domain signal, its spectrum, its Fourier transform will be type only. It will remain real and again even in frequency domain as well. So this is important. If signal is real and even in time domain, its spectrum is again real and even in frequency domain. Okay. The next one, similarly, we can argue this one, that if xt is real and odd signal, in that case, what you will get? So if it is odd signal, then what you can consider? X of t and x of minus t, these two will have negative polarity of this one. X of minus t equals to minus of xt, or x of t equals to minus of minus xt. Same thing, same meaning, right? Now if I take Fourier transform both sides, okay, take Fourier transform both sides, then what you'll get? This will get x of j omega, and this will get minus, and time reversal is capital X of minus j omega. And now x of minus j omega, again you can equate with x star of j omega, and it is minus sign, and these two relations is due to, it's a real signal. Remember, this is for real. Okay, and this relation is due to the odd symmetry property, right? It's fine. Again the same way. So we are getting basically two relations. One is capital X of j omega equals to minus capital X of minus j omega, and next one is x of j omega equals to again minus x star of j omega. Okay, or I can put there my minus sign and it is plus sign. I can multiply both minus sign together. Okay, so what is the implication of this one? So if I take a conjugate of a function, then I will get minus sign of that function. So that is possible if signal is having only imaginary term, because if x of j omega is of this form, only jv form, then its star is conjugate of this one is minus jv form. That indicates that the spectrum x of j omega is purely imaginary. There is no real part of this x of j omega, right? And this indicate it is a minus of this one. Negative side is minus of positive side, okay? So it's indicate that x of j omega is odd function. Okay, so if I combine these two together, then we can write that for real and odd time domain signal, its spectrum is purely imaginary and odd function. Is that right? So this is an important conclusion from here. So now we can go further again. Now if I consider one signal, that is xt, now we know that any signal xt can have one even part xct and one odd part xot. This is the even term, and you understand that xct even term easily we can find it out, no? So how to find out? So if I replace t by minus t, then you will get my x of minus t. So xc of minus t, and this is xo naught of minus t. But as this is the even part, it's the even, this is the odd. So its even signal, it will remain same, xct. As it is odd, its sign will change, minus x naught t. So from these two equations, if I add these two, then x naught t will cancel. Then 2xt will be equal to x of t plus x of minus t. So xt is basically half of xt plus x of minus t. And similarly, if you subtract these two, then we will get x naught t, 2x naught t. So x naught t odd part is half of xt minus x of minus t, right? So the signal can have some even part and odd part. Okay, if signal is neither even and odd signal, in that case, right? Now if I take Fourier transform of this one, so Fourier transform of xt will give you the Fourier transform of xct and obviously Fourier transform of xot by linearity property, that I can say. So this x of j omega, this will give you something, some x of j omega, this is a Fourier transform. Okay, but this Fourier transform of xct and this is your Fourier transform of x naught t. So in general, this x of j omega can have real part and imaginary part. So real part of x of j omega plus imaginary part of x of j omega. We can separate it out. It's a combination. So something a plus jv form. It is a, it is jv, including j. Okay, that part. And you see here, if xt is real signal, okay, remember, I am considering that xt is a real signal. And for real signal, we can get a complex spectrum. Fine. It can have one real part, one imaginary part, like e to the power minus a t ut. It's a real signal, but its transform is 1 upon a plus j omega, right? So, and you see here, if it is real, then xet is also real and even. So this is real and even. So Fourier transform of real and even, it will be real and even again. Okay, and this one, it will become imaginary and odd. But main thing is that this is a real function and this is the purely imaginary function. So now we can equate these two. So obviously the real part will remain same and imaginary part will be same. So from here easily we can conclude that the Fourier transform of xet should be equal to real part of x of j omega, and Fourier transform of x naught t is the imaginary part of x of j omega. So Fourier transform of xet should be the real part of capital X of j omega, and Fourier transform of xot should be imaginary part of x of j omega. So this is the conclusion. Now you take a simple example. So if I consider xt is simply e to the power minus at ut, and you know that for this one the Fourier transform is given by x of j omega, it is 1 upon a plus j omega. Now this signal will have, this is a complex one, so we can have two separate parts. I can multiply both numerator by a minus j omega, then denominator will become a square plus omega square. So its real part is a upon a square plus omega square, and imaginary part is minus, or I'll take it's plus here, it is minus j omega upon a square plus omega square. Okay, so its even part x even xet, you see this is your half e to the power minus at ut x of t and x of minus t plus e to the power at u of minus t. So obviously this one should have Fourier transform of this real part, means a upon a square plus omega square, right? And so this one already you have seen that it is a this imply e to the power minus a mod t, this is a signal. So this half is multiplied here, so 2 I can multiply both sides 2, so then we will get 2a upon a square plus omega square, right? And that we got earlier. E to the minus at its Fourier transform is 2a upon a square plus omega square. Similarly xot is half e to the power minus at minus of ut e to the power minus at u of minus t. That Fourier transform should be simply this imaginary term part minus j omega upon a square plus omega square. So that also we have got. We have got from here that simply this one e to the power minus at ut minus e to the power plus at u of minus t, its spectrum. So now I can multiply 2 both sides, minus 2j omega upon a square plus omega square, and this thing also we got earlier. So you see it is very effective concept to find the Fourier transform of these two by simply using this property. Okay, So we'll consider other properties in the future videos. Please keep watching and subscribe my channel to get future videos. Thank you.